Okay, thank you very much for joining us. My name's Mike Albanese, and I'm also here with Padmini. I'm going to be talking for the first 10 minutes about business studies, and then after that, Padmini will talk about about accounting. Sorry. So, to get your brains working and get you engaging, what we're going to do is show you a quick business strategy just to warm you up. So Zappos is an online shoe shop which was bought by Amazon and known for their really positive culture. But one of the things that really interests me is what they call their paying employees to leave, the offer. And so once new employees have been there for a month, the boss will offer them £2,000 if they're not 100% happy at the business. So he'll say, if you want to leave, you can leave. You get paid for the month that you've done, and you also get £2,000. In the comment box, can you list any advantages and disadvantages for that strategy? Quite counterintuitive, but it's worked really well. If you can put any of the benefits or drawbacks in the Q&A, that would be great. I'll give you a minute to think about that. The last group made some great comments, so we want you to be even better than them.
That was fantastic, wasn't it?
We want you to be outstanding. Yeah. But obviously being outstanding takes a little bit of time. So you can hear the clock ticking. Yeah. Going to give you another 20 seconds, ladies and gents. What would be the benefit of giving new recruits £2,000 if they wanted to leave? How could that possibly be beneficial?
I wonder how much it would cost the company.
Apparently, about only 2% of the new recruits take it.
Really?
Really small percent.
Bad,
yeah. It? So fantastic. May struggle to get long-term employees. That's certainly the risk, isn't it? You feel as if certain people would go, okay, I'm going to work there, I'm going to do a month, get the £2,000, and that's a great month's work. That's certainly one of the risks that they're taking. Great point. They could lose popularity in the company. Yeah, so that may happen also. So you're coming up with a lot of the negatives, and there's certainly the risks that you run with giving people money to leave. If any of you can come up with any of the positives, that would be grand. But they're the strong arguments against it. You may struggle to get long-term employees, and people may just join for the first month and then leave. How much would they have to pay you to leave? That's the question, isn't it? How much money would they have to give?
How much is my mortgage?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right. Well, I think we had another one. Let's have a quick look. Fantastic. They could tell their friends to go and sign up. Yeah, another danger, another disadvantage with that strategy. And so we've got our first positive, allows the company to have good employees who want to work there and so will be more productive. That's it. That's exactly it. So some great contributions there. If you look on the board or on the screen, what I've done there is broken it down into the 4 functional areas of business. And this will take up the majority of year 1. So operations is the making of the product or service. And what would hopefully happen, as someone has already outlined, workers will be more productive because the workers who are only there for the money, who may not have been 100% bought into the core values of the business, will have left. And so you'll have a team of dedicated employees. So that should make them more productive. From a human resource point of view, that's the hiring, firing, training and motivating of employees. The dedicated staff should stay longer. There should be lower absenteeism because you've already weeded out those not so sure students. Should be lower sick days. The other big thing is, and I'm not sure if any of you have ever played football, there's always someone on the team who's not pulling their weight. If there isn't anyone, that's probably you. And so without those team players who are just lazy, you're going to be much more productive and more motivated. It's going to be a much nicer environment to work in. From a financial point of view, employees should stay longer, and so less has to be spent on advertising and recruitment. because you've weeded out these not so good employees early on. And then from a marketing point of view, you should have happy employees, because they're there not just for the money, because they really agree with the way in which you do business, your culture and your core values, and that should lead to better customer service, and that will lead to more return customers, and that of course will lead to more money. And so the top student, your aim in business studies, as it is with all A levels, is to be able to form the links between finance, HR, marketing and operations. And we've kind of done that. We've mentioned how you should be more productive because they're more motivated. Because they're more motivated, we won't have as much labour turnover, and so there'll be some finances kept. And furthermore, because we've got motivated employees, they'll be able to pass on that enthusiasm and motivate it to the customers, and that will also lead to greater finances. Okay, so why study business? So it's a highly regarded A level amongst universities. I would say, and most people would say, it's a very good foundation for a career in a range of industries. There's absolutely nothing that you will see on the news, anything, if we're talking about Boris Johnson or the NHS or different countries going to war, all of it can be linked with business studies. Furthermore, there's not a job that you'll go into that will not be a business. And so each will have a HR department, finance, marketing and operations. And so any kind of organization you want to go in, they will all be a form of business. And so your understanding of that will give you a good solid understanding of how that organization is run. Not only the content is it that we teach, but we also focus, of course, on knowledge, analysis, application and evaluation. And they're the key skills that you need for all of your A levels. And we spend a lot of time on exam technique in business studies. To try and make it as interesting as possible, we go to a lot of global businesses. On the slide, we've mentioned Innocent, Gymshark, Morgan Motors. We also go to Jaguar Land Rover, and we try and get as many businessmen and women and entrepreneurs into the college, so that everything you learn in the classroom, you see out and about. And finally, all the business teachers are specialists, and our grades over the last few years have exceeded the national average. They've been above and beyond. On the screen now, you've got the course outline. So as I mentioned, theme 1 and 2, to summarise, they're the 4 functional areas that we saw earlier. So marketing, finance, operations and HR. So that's all about, first of all, setting up a business, that's entrepreneurship. Then we look at how you go about recruiting and motivating your employees, how we make sure we get the right ones, how do we treat them. Then we look at the finance and operations. How do we make the money? Whilst that seems as perhaps the main objective as a business, most businesses don't have money as their main objective. Money should be the result of doing whatever you're doing right. Money should be the reward, not the main objective. In the second year, we move on to themes 3 and 2, and that's all about strategy. We look about growth and internationalization. So how you change, if we take Gymshark for an example, how you take one young man from Birmingham selling a few t-shirts to becoming one of the biggest fitness brands in the world, selling in over 150 companies. What are the challenges that go with that? How do you deal with growth, with change, with operating in different cultures and managing what used to be maybe 3 or 4 people, that's now maybe 10,000 people? They're all the concepts that we look at. We have 3 2-hour exams. Whilst there are some short response questions and some mathematical and analytical questions, the majority of them are written. And so your ability to write well-developed, strong paragraphs is what is a real sign of success in the course. The entry requirements are the standard entry requirements, 2 GCSEs at 6, a further 3 at grade 4. You need to have maths and English at a 4. And if you've already studied GCSE business, then you need to have a 4 in that. However, it's not a prerequisite. You can do the course without having studied business studies before. Many of our students go on to Russell Group universities, some of the top universities. We also have a lot of students go on to internships and apprenticeships at banks and consultancy firms, many of which are in Birmingham now. Initially, they were only in London, but a lot of the big brands are in Birmingham as well. Again, careers in HR, marketing, and finance. A lot of students going on to do advertising in marketing. A lot of people doing the. So we had one student who's gone to Gymshark, and she's a social media manager, which sounds very interesting. Also, it's just a good foundation for anyone who wants to become a manager or a leader, who wants to move towards the top of any hierarchy. The information that we cover is really valuable for that. We have a student here who achieved an A star in business and also A's in chemistry and maths. What she always felt, how business helped her, is that we give a lot of the resources, and what we try to encourage is independence. So we'll do the lessons, and we are very happy to help those students who are asking for additional help. But what we're trying to do is get you to become independent students, trying to prepare you for university and for work, so that by the end of the two-year course, you realise that you don't have to speak to the teacher. You've developed the skills, so if you don't know, you know what you have to do. And that's one of the most important skills in life. I think that's it. There's a little section here on how to apply, but if you go onto our college website and go to applying, follow the step-by-step guide, and that's pretty straightforward. And so I'll give a minute now if any of you have any questions. I hope that was useful.
Quite a lot of information. What's the program? Is it question, based on these like sort of comedians and that? What's the?
I'm not sure.
Called? It's quite funny, that isn't it? Question and answer.
Like a quiz show?
Yes, bit like quiz show.
Oh, I
Yes.
can't think. I'm not sure. There's no questions at the moment, so what I should do is pass you on to Padmini, and she's going to talk to you about accounting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, how are you all? Hope you are doing well. I'm Padmini Patel Fenton, and I'm going to sort of talk to you maybe about 10 minutes. Go through slides giving you information about what accounting is, what you're going to study, what you can do, and you'll have a chance to ask questions at the end. So, okay, let's just talk about what accounting is. There's a misconception that most of you will think about accounting as counting money, dealing with money, but that really is not the only thing that the accounting team would do. Now, in terms of the accounting, it's not just about counting money, it's about preparing reports, documentations, final accounts that works out the company's profits, works out their assets, what they own, what their liabilities and what they owe, and works out what the worth of the business is. So any investors who wants to invest into the business, or even someone who wants to buy a business, will look at their financial statements. In UK, by law, every company has to produce the financial statements, and that is known as the income statement and statement of financial position. So in accounting, you will learn the ins and outs, the nitty-gritty about the data, about the finances, the figures, and you will produce a set of documents. In real sense, it's about working out how much does it cost to produce their product or services, what goes into it. And so therefore the finance department would record that and will work out what it is that the company can charge and how much does it cost them. So a bottle of milk, for instance, it may cost 80p to produce it, but on top of that, company needs to make a profit. So they will then charge a markup, or they will charge the amount of money that they need to make in order to continue in business. So what goes into it? How do we record it? So you will learn about that. Now, in terms of A-level accounting, there are two branches. One is known as the financial accounting, and as I said earlier, by law, you have to produce financial statements, and that is the job of a financial accountant. So wherever you go, you will never be out of a job, because they will always need an accountant to produce the reports and to make sense of it. So in the financial accounting, not only will you learn the different roles, different jobs, what do they do? You'll learn the techniques, you will learn how to record it, how to present the information, and what does it actually tell you about how the company is doing. Having said that, you also have management accounting. Now, management accounting are not required by law. It is something that most companies, larger companies, will employ because they want to work out whether the business is efficient, whether they are effective, what changes would they need to make. And one key reason is that the financial accounting data is historical. You record what's gone on. Whereas the management accounting looks at the projection, what happens in the future, decision making, if they need to make changes, what are the consequences. So that is the role of a management accountant. But if you train as that, the status is same as the financial accounting, you will probably earn just as much. But having said that, not all companies employ management accountant. So you may be limited in terms of where you can work. On top of that, the work of a financial accountant is governed by ethics and is governed by accounting standards. So if you like, it's a bit like the law for an accountant. There are the rules, principles that an accountant would have to follow. So let's just have a look in terms of what you can do with the A-level accounting, where you can go to university and do your degree in accounting, or you can do an apprentice or take an apprentice route. And there are a number of ways you can do that. You can either go to a training provider and follow their professional accountancy or a route, which is the AAT or ACCA, or you can go and work for a company who will then train you, as well as, they may give you a scholarship as well, internship. So you need to actually look out for that. And they do value people with A-level accounting because they recognize that it's not an easy A-level. It's there is a shortage in terms of people who are qualified. So therefore, they will offer you a lot more incentive than maybe another sort of area of work. The terms of the career development, it's always worthwhile you researching and looking, because there are more and more sort of opportunities that are that arise with a range of companies. So you've got NHS, who are always looking out for people who are trained in accounts, Marks and Spencer's, Cadbury's, you've got KPMG, you've got PwC. They're all good companies who will always need accountants, and they're always in lookout for a good, disciplined individuals who they can actually train and take them forward. You can specialize in auditing, taxation, or you can just go and work in the accounts department. But in order for you to become a chartered accountant, you will have to do a professional accountancy qualification. So even if you have a degree, you will need a professional qualification. So that is ACCA or CIMA if you want to go into management. With your A levels, you can directly go and do your ACCA if that is what you've decided you want to do. But most of our students are not really clear in terms of whether they want to specialize in accounting or they want to sort of have their options open. If that is the case, then they choose to do an accounting degree, or maybe they combine that with business studies, with law. So you've got that option as well. So let's just then move on to looking at how you are going to be assessed. There is the end of the year exam. All the assessment and the grade is based on the written exam. It's 100% based on the final grade, so there is no coursework. Having said that, internally we have 4 key assessments just to monitor and check on your progress. The end of the year exam, or the end of the 2-year exam, the final A-level exam, is 3 hours long, 2 papers. The first paper is based on financial accounting and the second one is based on management accounting. And I think that is just a superb way of introducing the work of financial accountant and the management. So before you make a decision in terms of your degree or professional, it gives you a flavor of what the the 2 areas is all about, so you can make an informed decision. Now, in terms of the entry requirement, same as the business studies, we need 2 GCSEs at grade 6, 3 GCSEs at grade 4. In English and maths, up until last year, it was grade 4. However, this year we have changed it to grade 5 in maths. That's because we feel that the maths will teach you the discipline in order to be successful in the accounting. Just like maths, it's about its vertical sort of way of learning. In what I mean by that is it's about the blocks. So you need to master the first block in order to move on to the second one. So it's, if you miss one, it's going to be a bigger jump for you. So we believe that maths is going to give you that same ethics and same principle as in terms of studying and understanding the importance of keeping on top of your studies. So that's where we are in terms of the accounting. Application, go onto the website, the Solihull SFC, ac.uk, and then just follow the step-by-step instructions that will then take you to what you need to do. You can ask any questions via the same site, and somebody else will actually get in touch with you. But better still, why don't you just turn up for one of the open days? I think the next one, we've got principal talk on the 3rd and the 7th of March. So just log on, and you'll sort of get as much information as you possibly can. Now, that is all from me and Mike, but happy to take any questions that you may have.
So there were a few questions for business, and I replied to them via the chat. So we'll leave this on for a minute or so. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If not, we hope that's been of use. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and have a good evening. Bye.
It's strange, when it comes up, it doesn't come up, it comes up there.
Oh, does it? All right.
Shows.
To wait for a few seconds to see if there are any questions, either for me or Mike. So I think we're assuming that there aren't any questions.
Oh, we
Oh,
have
we
one.
have, okay.
Was also thinking of doing maths A level. Do you think this would be too similar?
No, because we don't really use a great deal of maths techniques in accounting. It's the more to do with discipline and ethics. What you do in maths, in terms of the accounting, the application we would use is working at the percentage, maybe looking at some formulas, adding up, subtracting, and that's really basically it, or ratios. That's the only maths techniques that we would use. Apart from that, we would not use any other like simultaneous equation or any complicated. It's more to do with the discipline, and I think it's a fantastic idea for you to do maybe accounts with maths, because the two combined are quite powerful A levels.
I think it's a really good combination, and if you have a love for numbers, I think that's a big part of accounting, isn't it? And so I think that they complement each other nicely.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong with maths. It's a good question, because maths and accounting combined will open up your doors. So if you want to go into actuaries, for instance, or maybe statisticians, then it will complement and it will help you. So they're the people who work out the shares and the returns and the insurance. So if you wanted to go into that field and earn top money, or even go into taxation, then the combined will.
Way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all.
Is that it?
Thank you very much. I hope that's been useful, and we hope to see you in September. Bye-bye.
Bye.